us all the way from London, Mr. Klisman Murati, the economic expert and director of Beito Economic Research Establishment. Welcome, Mr. Klisman. This shipment will reach Istanbul of Ukrainian wheat tomorrow. I believe that now it is in the Black Sea. Do you believe it will reach safe and sound, or do you believe it might face an accident or so?
Well, no one has a crystal ball to tell the future, but I think it's in the interest of three major parties that continual grain exports from both Russia and Ukraine continue. For the Ukrainians, because wheat exports, grain exports make up 35% of their exports, and also for Russia, which has been suffering under sanctions since they invaded Ukraine heavily. And also for the world, who is in a food inflation price crisis, and any continuity of reliable grain will be good to make sure that prices return to normal and this crisis is lessened as time passes.
Mr. Klisman, what are the chances of this agreement to continue to hold, given the raging battles in Ukraine and the spread of naval mines in the Black Sea and towards Ukrainian ports? Do you believe that there will be another vessel will sail also from Ukraine soon, or what do you think?
Yeah, there's many uncertainties in this, only because we have things like undersea mines which are not fully controllable. But I think the business community, especially the insurers and the underwriters who insure the risk for these vessels now leaving the ports of Odessa and elsewhere, are confident enough that this agreement will hold because they are willing to insure these vessels. And if the insurance community has confidence, this hopefully allows the rest of the business community to also have confidence in this agreement that they both agree to, and for them to hold tight to this agreement. Again, there are some unpredictable things, like say undersea mine exploding, which again wouldn't be in the benefit of everyone and would scare the participants involved and will return sort of anxiety to the markets. But we hope that all parties, for the benefit of themselves, keep to this agreement.
The Russian president, the Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky, expressed that he is really optimistic about this process, but he also stated that the volume of Ukrainian wheat export and grains export will be halved in terms of its volume because of the battles and the war. It has been reduced by half. So how far is Ukraine benefiting economically of these developments?
Yeah, the Ukrainian economy has essentially been subsidized by the international community in the form of aid and donations by the international community, which has allowed its economy for its best to maintain normal operations. Now, if Ukraine have the ability to export their grains out of their ports, this will at least give them a chance to be more independent in creating revenue streams for the companies and also for the country itself. And they should be optimistic, because no matter what, I think if parties come around the table and if the agreement benefits both sides, there needs to be trust in the middle of these agreements, which is very hard to create now, especially with the U-turn activities of Russia, who have gone back on their word a number of times for certain things. This will lead to them being uncertain, but hopefully if trust is proven by the normality of these grain exports continually over the next couple of months, this will hopefully build more confidence and more income revenue for the Ukrainian government and also for companies in Ukraine.
It must be that Russia will benefit from this agreement as well, Mr. Klisman.
Yes, Russia.
How much does Russia really benefit from exporting these grains again?
Again, it's not only Russia which is benefiting, but it's the world who relies again on Ukrainian and Russian wheat exports, barley exports, and other commodities.
I mean the Russian economy. Since there are sanctions against the Russian economy, and there are attempts to tighten the sanctions, economic sanctions against Russia, how far will this process of exporting wheat benefit Russia under sanctions?
Ultimately, the best thing for Russia, if they want to again regain normality to their economy, is to pull out of Ukraine so sanctions could be alleviated. But next to that, the best thing that they can do now is continual exports of their grains for the benefit of their economy. Any export income is good income, no matter what country you are, especially now with the strain of sanctions on Russia. So they hope, for their own benefit, again, to make sure that these grain exports continue over the long run for income into their country. And this is something that the EU haven't focused on cutting, because they realize the essential nature of the supply system, especially for Russian grains, for the world economy, so that prices can again come down to a level which is reasonable.
Thank you very much, Mr. Klisman Murati, the economic expert and director of Beito Economic Research Center, joining us all the way from London. Thank you, Mr. Klisman. Thank you, Mr. Klisman. We're off air now. Thank you.
Thank you so much.